Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today I am going on a barrette making marathon. I'm not going to show a lot of them to you guys. I just figured I'd show at least one. I have a show starting setup tomorrow, and it's more of a horse show than anything else, so we're probably going to grab one of the horse ones to work on. And let's get to it. Well, I've grabbed two of my designs here. I've got some E6000s, though I don't think this is going to go very far. It's not much to it. And I've got my bracelet bender. Now I use the bracelet bender to bend my parts that I'm using. So what we're going to work on is one large and one medium. Let's put the large one aside a little bit. We'll drop out the medium stuff. Now when I go and paint pieces for my barrettes, I tend to do a marathon of painting. So they're all going to be painted already, what I'm going to do. And what we're going to do with this one is we're going to put these on either side of our barrette with this piece in the middle. Then our horse's head is going to sit in here with our two horseshoes on either side, like so. So let's get it put together, shall we? The first thing we want to do is, well, we'll set these guys aside because they're second level things. We want to put our first level things together. So what we want to do is take our bracelet bender. If you don't have one, you can do this usually by hand. I used to do it all by hand, all the bending. So there's one side, and we'll do the other side. Just carefully bend it till you get it about where you want it. See, we still need a little bit more on this side here. There we go, that's pretty good. Now we need to bend our middle bar. That's looking pretty good. Now let's see if the horse shoes and the horse itself are going to need bent. Maybe a teeny touch. So since they're going to go sideways on it like so, I'm going to put them in the bracelet bender that same way and squish. Come on, baby, come off. And we're going to do the same on this side with this one. Oops, wants to go sideways a little bit. Let's make it go better. There we go. Oh, I think I got it still more sideways than I wanted it. Now let's see how it sits down on the bar. This looks like it's going to sit relatively well. So that's good. And now our little horse's head. See how his face will bump up if we don't bend him some? So we'll get on here, put him right in there, and push. Now let's see how he fits. It's looking pretty good, but his nose is still up just a little bit. So we want that nose to curl down some more. So we'll put him in here. See the nose still up a touch. The rest of it looks pretty good. So we'll get that nose in our binder again. I think she'll work now. So we put them on, we keep them in place with where they're going to go on our barrette bar, because as you can see, it's a little bit different from side to side. So now it's time to start gluing. So get our glue open, and I think this is probably, no, it's not bad. So what you want to do is just put glue all from top to bottom as much as you can without going really globby on our bar, the top of our blank here. Now I'm going to shove that lid back on somewhat so I don't have to worry about it dripping too much. Now we want to put this on, and then this one. Carefully check that you've got them about where you want them. Then you want to compare this one so you can see where it sits. And you can see I'm overlapping, so I need to get some glue on the edges here. Then we'll center this as much as possible and push it down into place. Now you can clip it right now. I use little tiny baby paper clothespins to hold things down, because they're gonna try and pop up a little bit for a little while. Not too bad. See how it's popping up a little bit right there though? So we want to get that pressed down. But because I think the pieces are flat enough that I can pin them with the pieces in place, I am going to lather up the glue into the head. Now, because these are sort of hollow, I try to put it in the whole head so I make sure that I get it where I want it. And then we'll do the same with our little horseshoes. Now beware, you're going to get glue on your fingers. It's just the way of the world. So if you don't want glue on your fingers, sorry. Well, you might want to wear surgical gloves. That would probably be enough control and still be able to keep your hands without getting glued. I'm afraid I don't bother. It doesn't bother me a heck of a lot to have my hands a little bit gluey, so I don't really care. Now, we just have to pin her until she dries for a little while. Now I need to get a few more pins out to be sure that I've got this pinned pretty good into the places I want it. Now I get these little pins. You can get them at either Walmart or Dollar Tree. I think I got this batch at Dollar Tree, but I could be wrong. Now she's all pinned up. She'll just sit here and dry for a while. And then we'll take her out and see if we need to pull any excess glue off. So while that one's drying, let's start on our large one. So this one, we are going to take our large hair barrette and we're going to put this pretty painted piece across the top here. And because it just doesn't quite reach the corners, we'll use these two little copper pieces in the corners, here and here. And then this big bucking horse will go across the front right here, like so. And then these little racing horses will be on either end, where it overlaps the copper some. So here we go. We want to do our get our sizing in with our getting our bracelet bar out, our bracelet bender I should say, and start bending these pieces in place. So first things first, now see, I think I overbent this a little bit. See how it's got a gap here? We want to bring that back. There we go. That's pretty good. And usually these little tiny ones, because they're so small and they're only going to be sitting on the end, they don't usually need to be bent. So, like so. Maybe just a touch of bend on that corner. I noticed it was sticking up just a little bit, so we'll just take it with my finger, push it down, and see, now it's fine. So now we have this. Now our little horses are probably not going to need much bending. They look like they're going to sit on the bar pretty good. Oop, come here, baby. In fact, I'm not sure they're going to need any bending at all. As I say, they're sitting pretty nicely. They'll sit here. Yep. And here. The only one that might give us problems is our big guy here. And that's because the feet go off in all directions. Now, I'm not going to worry about this foot. It is going to have to stick up some. But we are going to need to get the tail a little bit. Now when you do this, you have to be careful, because this piece is made out of what they lovingly call pot metal, and it's a little more brittle than the brass stamping pieces. Okay. Like I say, this horse leg is going to stick up. You really can't make it go down. Well, you probably could try, but it wouldn't work real well. Tail still needs to come down a little, and the front leg definitely needs to come down as well. So let's see what we can do here. Like I say, we want to be very careful when we bend these, because they might try to break. So see how our bucking horse is doing. You know, that's not too bad. Oh, the tail came up as I put it down over here. So we are going to have to get the tail down a bit more. Okie dokie, I think we're pretty good. So now it's time to start putting this baby together. So of course we put glue along the whole bar. Small copper pieces on both ends. And now I know that this will overlap right here at the point, so we're going to put a little glue right here on the point. Oops, it wants to slide. We don't want it to do that. And it's pulling this side out of place some. So let's see how we're doing here. Now see how this one has slid up over here some. So we want this to be straight like so. Okay, that's pretty good. So we're going to pin this side down as well as this side. Now we're going to put one on the other side like so to make sure this stays pretty even here. Now this one we probably can put the big horse on now, but the small horses, because they're underneath where I put the clips at, will not be able to go on yet. So let's see if I can get him on here. Well, if I take that one clip, now I have to take these side clips off to get him on. Though they probably aren't really needed because this one is being held down by the corners over here. So let's see if we can pull that off and see if we can get our horse in here good. Okay, so let's get some glue on our horse. Now you'll notice I did put glue on the legs that are going to stick up some, and that's because it will probably drip down a little bit and make a connection to the barrette. That way it will keep it more sturdily in place. Okay, so now before we put the little guys on, we're going to let this one dry for a while. So we'll sit it up here, put the little ones beside it so we know that this goes to these, which I know it does. Look, that's sticking to me. I have a little glue obviously on my thumbnail or my fingernail, and it wants to stick with the horse. So let's cap this for right now. Then we'll go over here and see how dry we're getting. See if I figure we can take this off, all the pins off. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right. Now that we have the pins off, we need to take our tweezers and see if there's any extra bits of glue that needs pulled off. There we go. As long as it hasn't hardened, you can usually pull the E6000 off. You want to let it harden to the point where it will form a little bit of a glob when you pull it off, though. Let's see if we... See how that's got a little glob there on my tweezers? It's also could have been a little bit drier because it wants to leave a little bit of residue here, which I don't want to have happen, so we're going to see if we can't get that out. Okay, and now this one is finished. Isn't that pretty? So now we just have to finish the other one up, which will be a few moments still because she needs to dry a bit more before we worry about. Though there's a stringer right there, so we'll pull that off. I want to make sure it dries a little bit more before I pull the pins off the ends, so we're going to take a little break and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now that this has dried for a while, let's see how she's doing. Oh, we got some glue sticking up, see there? But it's pretty good and tight, it feels like. Okay. Now we're going to put our little running horses on. They're going to go here and here. Now, because they're going to cover up some of that excess glue, I'm not going to worry about the excess glue. We're just going to get some glue and glue these little babies on. So... There's this guy. Now, since I sat this one down in that patch of glue, it wants to stick there, but doesn't enough glue to hold it if it gets any kind of stress put on it, so needs a little more down here on the legs, I think. Okay, now on with you. And there we go. There is number 2 finished. I don't think I have any real glue I need to pull out. I do see, where did I put my tweezers at now? Oh, they're underneath here. I do see a little runnel. What I mean by that is one of those little pieces of glue that likes to just string out from stuff. So we'll see about getting those off. But in the meantime, our barrette is finished. So there we are, 2 pretty cool horse barrettes. Now I'm making a lot of horse barrettes because I've got a horse show coming up this week, and so we need some special items. So these are 2 of them. Aren't they cool? Hope you enjoyed making these pretty horse barrettes with me. This is a medium size. Isn't he cool? And this second one with our jumping horse, our rearing horse I should say, and our 2 little running ones here. Aren't those pretty? I hope you enjoyed making those with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.